Catherine and Gail and Casey, and I'm not going to go through all the names because I'll forget them. I'll forget to mention people. Okay. I'll just run through a little bit of what we're going to do today. I'm going to start off as per usual with a grounding and connecting exercise where I lead you into a bit of a meditation as per usual so that we can all get on the same wavelength and be in the same space. And I'm then going to introduce Adam so I can tell you a little bit more about him. And then Adam and I are going to give you a little bit of a recap on what's been happening in the city of Cape Town with the baboons, and then we're going to discuss possible perspectives, and then what we're going to do is going to be moving into a heart meditation where we can actually start connecting with the baboons and find out their perspective and see if there's what a solution could look like. And then I will guide you through all of that. Okay. People from all over the world. All right, so while I share my screen, and you all just be very comfortable in your seat. Just reminding everyone this is a follow-on from a webinar that we had in December last year. Okay, so I'm going to keep this image up on the screen so that you can either focus on him. He's one of the big leading figures in the waterfall troop in Simonstown. And you can either close your eyes or just rest them gently on his face. Take a deep breath in and slowly breathe out. And just feel your body relax completely. Feel solid ground beneath you. Feel your feet firmly on the ground. And as you breathe, feel that love of Mother Nature, that support, that peace, a feeling of unconditional love as you breathe that in to your heart space, cleaning and clearing any anxiety, any heaviness that you may be carrying with you in your heart today. Just breathe it out and let the earth transform it into something that feels lighter. Feel that love that you have for Mother Nature. For all of wildlife, the beauty of the landscapes. In particular, we're focusing on the baboons, our cousins. Feel that love and respect that you have for them as we share this space with them, this world with them, and all other beings. who want to live and coexist with us. As you feel yourself relax into this space of connection, we create a heart field, this expansion of love, moving out from our hearts, beyond the boundaries of our bodies, into the environment. Feel yourself as part of that environment. In a space where there's no separation. We are working as one, being as one, living as one, breathing as one. We feel safe and protected in this space. We also feel the connection with all the human animals that are gathered here at this time to listen and to be here in support of the baboons. Feel that frequency of love that connects us. Once again, feel your feet firmly on the ground, connected to the earth, who holds us and supports us. Feel your body back in the chair and back in this gathering. And when you're ready, if you've got your eyes closed, open them. And we open this gathering on that frequency of unconditional love. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So without further ado, I really am excited to have Adam with us. And those of you who don't know him, and he is an investigative environmental journalist, one of the, well, probably in my eyes, the best known one in South Africa. And he works on really, really big projects. At the moment, he's working with a documentary that he was very closely involved with and co-created, called Trade Secret, about the polar bears. It's being shown in all sorts of festivals around the world at the moment and has already won some incredible awards, wildlife awards. And looking back, in some of his work, his journalism, he was the first person to expose the illegal hunt of Cecil the lion. And everyone knows the story of Cecil the lion. And, you know, really his articles are really thought-provoking, showing a different perspective about conservation, shifting to a different paradigm. And he works with so many issues, from, you know, illegal trade and captive breeding and hunting and fisheries and all sorts of things. That I know he has a deep, deep love for baboons. And Adam, I'd love you to, that's why you're here with us. And I'd love you to just tell everyone a little bit about your being with baboons and how you came to get involved with the Simonstown baboons in this plight as well.
Thank you, Wynter. Very, very kind introduction there. And hi to everybody here. I'm very honored to be part of this. And hopefully we can, make some kind of a difference. Yes, the baboons. I happen to live on the South Peninsula in Cape Town for 10 years. Uh, um, between 2010 in 2020. And obviously, it's a very, very interesting scenario because these baboons are significantly different to baboons elsewhere, in the sense that they do live in a city, almost a beautiful city with lots of nature. And this is why we have the issue that we have. And way back in 2015, I wrote an article for National Geographic, worrying at that time about, are the numbers of baboons, is their time going to be up one day in Cape Town? Because it just doesn't seem like the authorities then were doing anything good. And it's unfortunately 10 years on, it's the situation is a lot worse. So I've been writing about it. I've just actually, one of my articles came out today, where I actually liken the management of the authorities with the baboon issue to apartheid, because it's basically spatial segregation. It's the removal of a species, not human this time, but it's other animals, just for the because it's an inconvenient animal for some of the people that live on the South Peninsula. And so I think it's really, really important that we highlight the issue that baboons are, they deserve to live on the peninsula as much, if not more, than we do. I mean, they were there first, and we are the latecomers to the area. So we need to show a little bit of respect, and I think that's the message we need to get across.
Mm. Thanks, Adam. And, just to recap for those of you who don't know what's happening on the peninsula after, 10 years of, well, I mean, I've kind of been involved with the baboons for over 20 years of seeing the different management methods, but the last 10 years has been very, very aggressive management, and the authorities or decision makers have decided that nothing's working, that's not working. So now, um, in, well, they need to be eliminated. And because there was such a huge outcry about what is elimination, it's killing them basically, which they have been doing systematically, but albeit, sort of a few at a time. But now they've come up with this idea of creating what they call a sanctuary for a couple of the troops, putting this troop in particular, wild troops, into a small enclosure right next door to Cape Point Nature Reserve. And I think the issue is that there are a few people who are supporting this because they think it's better than killing them. But most of us who love nature and love the baboons recognize that this is an atrocity. Um, and your articles are highlighting that. Um, and just to your perspective on how could this work if people had to change their attitude completely, what could it look like? And there are solutions.
Yeah, absolutely. There's solutions. And I think this is what the authorities and those that are advocating putting them in cages are missing, is that those solutions are there. It's just that we have to work at those solutions. And it's not a great leap. At the moment, it's just for some people, it's an uncomfortable inconvenience when the baboon comes into your house and raids your fridge or the fruit on the table, or upends the bin, and is basically a nuisance. This is not a really, I mean, this is not a, it's not a major problem if you have a look at global standards of what other people are having to deal with around the world. So, seriously, let's have a look at what the solutions are. Let's look at peaceful coexistence with baboons. We do it with the rest of nature in the Cape Peninsula. We love the birds. We love, the mongoose and mongooses coming in. These are things that we enjoy. So baboons should be part of that. And it's just, I think, really for a lot of people, it's just they don't like baboons, maybe because baboons represent us, and probably they represent a part of us that we don't really like. For example, just breaking things and stealing things. But that's just an attitude that is entrenched in some people's minds, and it should be an easy leap to sort of make. And those solutions, if you don't want baboons coming into your houses, we've spoken about this many times, is you just keep things closed, and you don't have to keep them closed all the time because the baboons aren't there all the time. They have set foraging habits. You can learn when those are. There are also techniques of WhatsApp groups where people say, okay, baboons are coming down Erica Lane, and they're going to come into your house in 5 minutes, so time to lock up the doors, kind of thing. So, those are the solutions. Sure, it's a little bit of extra work, but as I said, it's
Mm,
not that much. I mean, it's not too bad. And this is what the authorities are not seeing. The city of Cape Town, they can see all they need to do, and they've got the money and they've had the money. Spend a bit of money on education, on awareness, on uh, baboon proofing dustbins, for example, waste management. Not a problem. Can be done,
mm.
easily solved.
What I've always found is interesting is, so many of these suggestions have been put out, you know, over so many years. The people who love the baboons and or just don't mind the baboons and are happy to, manage their own properties, those and the ones that are really upset about them being killed or harassed or aggressively treated are always the quiet ones. It's the ones that are not tolerant, the ones that have got this sort of dominant attitude to nature. They're the loudest ones, and those are the people who get heard by the authorities. And that's why, the authorities have the excuse of um, listening to those people because of, that's fear and it's danger. And, how do we, I think one of the questions that we want to ask with our heart work is how do we get that message from the baboons, whatever it may be? We know it's one of coexistence, harmonious coexistence. How do we get that out so that voice is louder than the naysayers? And that's something that I've been pondering, and I don't know if you have as well. If
Mm.
you've got any ideas. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I think you've just said it yourself. I mean, we are the quiet ones. We tend to be the ones that are the peaceful uh, ones, and therefore we don't shout loud, and we're not violent with our language, and we're not raising our voices. And that's a good thing. That is a good thing because we don't want to meet them in that kind of level. We don't want to start a shouting match. So the best way to do it really is to just get the message out as much as we can on social media and be convincing, and we can. And one of the things that is lacking in this whole debate is that the authorities are listening to those loud people. They're also listening to biologists. And biologists are scientists, right? They look at things in a scientific way, and they come to the conclusion that baboons must exist in a state of nature and not be urbanized. They cannot live in an urban area. That's for humans only. Now, what biologists are not understanding, and this is not their training, is they don't know morals, they don't know ethics, they don't understand things that are good and bad, and this is not their jurisdiction. It's not their training. So what we need to convince the authorities is that there's an ethical dimension here. There's something that, when we talk about peaceful coexistence, it means exactly that. And that's what we can achieve. And I think that's the way to go. And we don't have to throw the sort of scientific facts that baboons like living in nature. Of course they do, but they are adaptive like humans are, and they can live in urban and semi-urban environments quite happily, as do other animals. Again, I mentioned birds, lizards, mongooses, you name it. So, let's allow that to happen, and let's be convincing, and let's keep the tone calm and peaceful, and not violent and antagonistic.
Yeah, absolutely. And what the baboons are, their nature is to, you can't ignore baboons. When they're in your space, they're in your space. They aren't aggressive. They'll be respectful if you treat them respectfully. And I just think one of those, that's why people are scared of them as well. They are so, you just can't ignore them. You may be able to ignore the mongoose that, moves through your property, and I think that's why they've also had such a hard rap, with living in nature. And also because they're adaptive, most of the animals will just move away from the human noise and the human lights, but the baboons don't so much. They're focused on their family, they're focused on food, and they often mirror us, I find. So the more calm and gentle people are with them, the easier it is.
Mm. Yeah, I think you're spot on. I mean, baboons, they are different from the other animals. They're big, they can be terrifying. I mean, if you're not used to baboons and you have a huge male come wandering through your garden, I mean, it is something. Um, but it just takes a little bit of logic and a little bit of reason, and like you just said, you realize that they are like us, and if your attitude towards them will be mirrored back. So if you start throwing things at them and being violent towards them, that might be returned. So it's the same thing. And I mean, we this, Winter. I mean, you've lived with them and you've worked with them for so long. Excuse me. Um, so that's the thing. They can be quite something, but at the same time they're fascinating, and it's a privilege to live in a space where you can have nature like this.
Mm, absolutely. On that note, I'm going to share some images that I've put together, um, just so that people can also get a sense of what we're speaking about here as well. I shared this image of Irina's um, last time. I just think it's so beautiful that they enjoy the same spaces that we do. They enjoy being out and about in the views. This is in Simonstown as well, and it's the sort of baboon, not the official monitors. This is the community monitors, making sure that the baboons do get across the road safely. Here, of course, is baboons really in the streets of Simonstown, in the main road, rushing across. And, one of the arguments, Adam, that sort of counter arguments to your article was that the baboons get killed on the roads and it's not safe for them. That's why they need to be eliminated, which is very counter intuitive in my mind. But, imagine if the city spent the money on creating safer roads, safer spaces for the wildlife. Um, that's entirely possible, I think, as well. Um, and speak up, Adam.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I mean, the government has got millions and millions of rands and dollars to deal with the baboons and come up with solutions. I mean, the South Peninsula of Cape Town is a natural space. The roads should be by default, under strict traffic laws. I mean, they shouldn't have any speeding. You should be driving very slowly, not faster than maybe 30 or 40 kilometers an hour, much like in a game park, right? If you go to a nature reserve like the Kruger National Park, your speed limit is 40 kilometers an hour. I think the South Peninsula could have something very similar. This image that you've got of the baboon on the rock at the sea is a special one, and it also makes these baboons very special because they one of the few troops of baboons that actually forage on the beaches, and they quite adept at collecting mussels and cracking them open and all sorts of things. Exactly the way us humans began, right? We also began on these seashores collecting mussels and things like that. So we're basically looking at ourselves at the very beginning. And I mean, that face there, I mean, it's absolutely magnificent. And
Mm,
where in the world can you get an opportunity to see wildlife like this? You can go to the beach, you can see penguins, you can see baboons. It's beautiful. So the fact that people complain and they want the beauty of nature, but they don't want the hard nature, they don't just remove some of nature. They want to cherry pick. I don't think you can have it both ways. So if you want to live in nature and embrace it as in its full glory.
yeah, absolutely. And I think yeah, we have to just keep visioning that these baboons stay able to forage on the beaches because their plan at the moment, they'll be caged. They won't be able to go anywhere. Um, this is the waterfall trip again on the one of the top roads on the mountainside. Um, I had to put this picture in because it's what's been the what has action that has been taken to try and stop this plan from happening. This is a lawyer, Reno de Beer, has come in very aggressively. The the image looks very aggressive, but his heart's in the right place. He wants to stop this happening. And he's taken the government actually to court over this baboon plan. And we can only, support it and hope that it does something to stop this. Here's your article that came out today as well, if anyone wants to read it. And then there's counter arguments and there's all sorts of comments about that as well. When I put the recording up, I can put all these links up to it. Adam.
Mm. Yeah, so I mean, you can see that. So yeah, that's good news that there is a legal process, and obviously there are people that are going to fight this in court. I mean, I think most people that live on the South Peninsula want to protect these baboons and don't want to see them caged or eliminated or removed and taken elsewhere. So I think that's really good, and I do believe that the government's going to have to start listening because they can't just get away with something like this, and people are going to be really, really upset. And I mean, you see my title there. I really do believe it's something that maybe will echo, especially with the DA-led government, which is a so-called progressive government. This is post-apartheid. This was traditionally some of the members in this party were anti-apartheid campaigners, and they were against it. Maybe others not so much. I don't know. Maybe they're going backwards, but hopefully that resonates because apartheid is something that's really a big issue in South Africa, and it still carries a lot of pain. And maybe that will get people to wake up that spatial segregation and forced removal and containment and ultimately elimination is something that it's the same. I mean, we did it to people of color, and now we're doing it to other animals, especially baboons. Why are we doing this? So maybe that would get them to start to think a little bit differently.
Absolutely. And there's such cultural value to the baboons as well. And historically, they have been part of humans. you know, relationships from the beginning that when we first started living here.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I mean, we've existed side by side, th from the very beginning, we've existed side by side. And there's anecdotal evidence in the past where baboons and humans used to forage together, because we were, eating the same things, and the baboons were a little bit more adept at climbing trees, and they could see further, and they would warn if there were predators around, and that would help us. So this coexistence has been going on since the dawn of time, and it's only in the last few decades that we've decided, okay, thanks, baboons, we've had enough of you. Cheers, you're out of here. And
yeah.
that's just really not. I mean, again, just having a look at this image that you've put there. I mean, what a beautiful image. The baboon and a little sort of it looks like a figurine of a cat, a glass figurine, just sitting there,
Mm.
minding his own business. I mean, it's or her own business, I think. Beautiful image. What a beautiful image.
Yeah, and this is our deck here in Wilderness, and this is how we, when they come to visit us, that's a little gem, sort of the tumbled, semi-precious stones that they like to play with. Um, and they're so innocuous, the moment, obviously we close the doors because if they will sneak in to see if there's food. But the moment you step out there, they move away. There's great respect there, and this is just them. They're very curious. They will peek into the windows to see what's what. We live very much in the forest. This is them on our roof as well, and you can see the eagle flying behind. So we feel very much part of nature here, and we even have, we've planted food forests for them with the help of one of our, I think Gail's on the call today. She's, a few years ago, she donated a whole lot of money so we could plant indigenous fruit trees, and they're growing, and the baboons are really loving it. And it's a little bit away from the house. So, we're doing our bit to try and keep them safe because we know that they're safe with us. Um, I put these pictures up here because this is a big male. I mean, some people call him Silky on the right here. And although the family of baboons here are not managed by humans like the Cape Town ones have been, um, and they kind of have community systems and that, this big old guy has just disappeared, and often we get the big males because they're a little bit more cheeky, I suppose. They come in, they take the food, and people are scared of them because they're so big. And then people take the law into their own hands, and I suspect this is what's happened to this big male, Silky, and it's happened to previous ones here. So, one of the things I also want to think about is how do we not, get this balance between managing the baboons or looking out for them, because at the moment baboons are disappearing, whether they're managed or not. So it's about getting this balance right as well. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's another issue with baboons. They regarded as pests throughout South Africa. They particularly farmers don't like to see baboons on their land and will shoot targets of trophy hunters, believe it or not. And in actual fact, this is a horrific statistic, but they're one of the most trophy hunted animals in the country. Thousands of them get shot and their trophies exported overseas. So
Mm,
it's horrific. I wrote an article about that at the end of last year. So it's throughout the country. It's not just the Cape Peninsula where baboons are getting persecuted because they live in urban areas, but in their
mm,
natural spaces, they also get persecuted. And as soon as they drift in onto a farm or into an area, they are persecuted. So
mm.
it's something that really needs to be challenged. And we've basically got to look into our hearts and say, you know, we've got to look after these other animals. They deserve it because they're getting a real bad rap at the moment.
Mm. Yeah, so on that note, let's let's connect with our hearts. I'm going to I've got this is Martello, the leader of the Waterfall Troop in Simonstown. We worked with him last in December, a couple of months ago, when we decided to do another webinar to fine tune our heart work. So just I'm going to guide you in and let us all the words filter away, and we move into our heart. If you've got a pen and paper with you, that'd be great, just to write down very first thing that comes when we ask the questions. How can we help, or how can this look? How can we share the message so that the decision makers hear? How can we transform this situation into something that is beautiful and positive? And how does that look? If you can, just think about those questions as I guide you in to this heart meditation. Okay. So whether you can close your eyes or rest them gently on Martello's face. This picture was captured as he was communicating to his family, his ears back and his lips smacking, his eyes looking up. So feel him communicating with us today. And we step back into that heart field, that space where we went into, where we felt at one with all of nature. Move into that heart space, that heart field. And we invite Martello to be with us, to communicate with us in the safe space. We send him our absolute unconditional love and respect. We give thanks for his presence, for allowing us in to his world. And we ask for guidance, how us humans all over the world can assist with this situation. We ask him to show us what it could look like, and perhaps the steps that we need to take to get there. As we are in this heart space, perhaps you've seen a vision of what it can look like. And let us see this together that's being shown to me, where space is made, where the baboon families can walk peacefully, perhaps with guidance by caring humans, across roads to the shores where they can forage freely, up to the mountains, the spaces on the mountainside, the natural foraging being regenerated, the habitat being looked after, the humans taking responsibilities for their own spaces, for their own waste, for being called to live more at peace and at one with nature, the nature that they love to look at. Let us see the people who love nature sharing the message of the baboons, being inspired, working in community together with one heart. Let us see the celebrations of free roaming baboons on the urban edge, being safe, feeling safe, but being respected, and in return respecting the space of the humans who care. Seeing that there is enough for everyone, enough space to live together peacefully, where all our needs are met. Let us see the baboons and all the other wildlife with plenty of access to fresh waters. Where corridors are created, safe passage. Let us hold that vision and then release it to manifest, so that we have no attachment to it, and we can only add to the inspiration, to the vision, and act when we need to, when we're called to, for the baboons. You take a deep breath in. We give thanks, so much thanks to Martello for showing us a little bit of his world and what is possible. As we come back together and into this space, this gathering space of sharing, feel your feet firmly on the ground as we come back together. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We've got about 10 minutes time, so if anyone wants to share some of the visions or the ideas that came through, um, please do. You can write in the chat. Um, if you feel a burning need to speak, you can put your raise your hand. Simon, you've raised your hand.
I have. Hello. I, I, I mean, a lot of people know me and my relationship with the baboons also over the last 15 or 20 years. Um, and it's lovely. This isn't meant to sound judgmental, but it's lovely to see the automatic responses from people saying, well, couldn't we make a video of this? Couldn't we do education material of this? Can we do all sorts of simple things that could make a difference? But in my experience, they have been tried, and what we find ourselves doing is preaching to the converted. We are turning the silent minority into a silent, slightly larger minority. What we're trying to address are the decision makers and the loud minority who want the actions which are reprehensible. How do we actually get those people to convert the way they are thinking to the harmonious coexistence model? And that's the difficulty. And the only way I've seen it work is doing the hard work, like you're doing right now. And so I would encourage people to continue to do this, because then you can influence the people who are not aligned to the harmonious way. Whether they realize you're doing it or not, you are doing the big work. And so I would encourage people to do more of it, maybe simply by watching the recording of this video, following Wynter's meditations and guidance again in the future. We were asking Adam earlier what other solutions are there, and his are impassioned. Let's look at the beauty of these and make sure other people see the beauty of them. But the politicians are still influenced by, how do I get another vote from this person? How do I please this person? They're trying to please too many people all the time. So I'd like to see some other ways of positively changing the minds of those who are difficult to change. Thank you.
Thanks, Simon. I know I haven't been able to read all the messages coming through, but I know there's some lovely messages here, and the images, and what I'd really love to suggest, and it's something that I was thinking about maybe since our last meeting that we had, is if people can make a little video or just write the messages that they're getting through and send them to me, so that we can start doing something with these on a practical level. We'll need help. Louise Hogarth, I don't know if I can mention your involvement with the baboons. I met Louise, thank you for being here. I met Louise in 2019 when she was starting a documentary about the animals are talking, and focusing on the baboons. And that's something that we might well be able to pick up. She's contacted me a couple of days ago to say, shall we do this? And I felt that the timing was amazing because of this work that has come, and it's so much in the field now, so that there could be, as someone, I think I saw a documentary being made about this in a very sensitive, compassionate way. So, one of the things I wanted to mention as well, Animal Talk Africa Trust, we had our AGM and in January, and one of the things, we started our AGM actually by doing a a connecting meditation, a bit of heart work, to find out what we need to focus on this year. And through that, and also with some conversations with other conservation organizations, baboons came up to be one of the main focuses for this year. So, with that, we can do something, physical as well as doing the heart work. And I'd like my followers, all the people that have showed up today, to be involved with that. So maybe we can do some more heart storming around that. How could that look? The writing is so important, Adam. I'm so grateful for your wordsmithing, because you write so well and you put the points across so amazingly accurately with heart. And that was one of the things that I received from Martello as well, just to keep writing and to keep sharing. And people do read, they do watch, they do look. And once with the heart work, I know heart work, we create miracles. I've seen miraculous things happen just over the last 2 months with the floods and the fires through the heart work. But the practical work as well, the physical work, be guided by the heart to act. And that's something that we can also explore in future. Maybe I don't know, maybe we have little groups that come together every few weeks to work specifically on this. Something maybe our heart pride could work with. There's so many possibilities. Adam, can I ask you how you felt after if you had anything to say after the hard work that we've just done?
Yes, indeed. I mean, I do feel there's going to be a groundswell. Um, there's be
Adam, you're
a
breaking.
big positive one. I think they're wrong. At some point, it gives up. Sorry, can you hear me?
We can now. You broke up a bit. Maybe I can ask people to switch their videos off. That often helps with bandwidth. I think you're back now, Adam.
Okay, good. I hope everybody can hear me. So, yes, I just think there's going to be a great groundswell coming up. I felt that for sure. There's going to be a positive response, and I think things are going to change for the better, because systems that are wrong don't last. They always have a sell by date, and I think we're at the end of the system. It's a bad system that is going to change for the good.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And I felt that as well, and I've been feeling that. It's almost like we're maybe beyond the tipping point in a positive way. That I think there has been so much attention, and there was a swell today. I mean, everything. There was so much about this in the press and on the WhatsApp groups today that I felt, wow, this is, it's happening, and change is coming, and we just need to, well, not just, but we need to keep that positive visioning, so that we make sure that it does happen with our support, our heart support, our physical support, and yeah, in every way, just as Mother Nature supports us. So I wish we had time. We're going to go over, if I read all these messages, but what I am going to do, I'm going to post them all on the replay and have a look at them. And if anyone has further suggestions, please email me. Let's see what we can work with for this year for baboons, and not just for the Cape Peninsula baboons, but as you heard Adam say, the plight of the baboons all over South Africa is dire. The Cape has the most attention because of the tourist factor and the beauty, and we can make a difference. Absolutely. Even, the people, 44 people here, there was about 120 registered, I think, for this call. And we can grow that with people with heart. Okay. So thank you so much. We're on the hour. So pleased to see you all here today. So appreciate the support. Adam, thank you so much for being with us. It really means a huge amount that you came and gave us your time today.
Thank you, and thank you all. Thank you all.
Yeah. And thank you, Simon and Shirley, for your support as well. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Until next time. We'll have a few of these, I believe. I think so. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Bye.